If you want to see the world with a sense of openness and possibility and beauty, if you want to fertilize the soil of your creativity so that you can express yourself, it's going to take some practice to cultivate this attitude of gratitude, as they say.
Welcome to the BDI Create Today podcast. This is a podcast where we uncover and discover the who, what, where, when, why, and how you can be creative or have more creativity. And together we'll explore the extraordinary impact creativity can have in your life, in heart, mind, body, and soul. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Beth Buffington, a licensed artist, digital illustration instructor, and a creative coach living just outside of the Windy City, Chicago. But mostly, I'm someone who is curious about how creativity can weave its way into nearly everything in our lives. Each week, we are going to look at one or more of the sparkly facets that make up the ever-changing kaleidoscope that is creativity. Hello, my creative friend. Welcome back to another episode of Create Today. Today, we are bringing back one of our favorite guests. We have Lisa Murphy to talk to us about her incredible knowledge on gracefully aging and how that can attribute to some goodness that you have inside your creativity. The reason I brought her back today is we are just days away from enjoying, one of my favorite holidays, which is Thanksgiving. And as much as we all love to eat pie and turkey, it's not what Thanksgiving is truly about. Thanksgiving has the word thanks in it. So what are you giving thanks for? And that made me think about just feeling happy about life and gratitude. And because of that, I thought there's no better person to talk to us about how gratitude works for our healthy living than Lisa Murphy. So Lisa, welcome back. So happy to have you here. And tell us right out of the gate, just what is gratitude and how does that weave in to the tapestry of our creativity?
Well, first of all, let me thank you, Beth, for having me back. It is always such a pleasure to be here. So my heartfelt gratitude to you.
I'm so glad you're here.
What is gratitude? I think that's a great question. And your timing is impeccable as always. We're days away from Thanksgiving, which, what does it mean? I'm choosing to hold on to the fact that it does mean giving thanks. And that brings up the question, your question, what is gratitude? Is it an emotion? Is it a sentiment or a feeling? Is it a skill?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a practice or an attitude? Can it be all of the above? There's a really smart guy called Cicero, and he said something a long time ago that gratitude is not only the greatest of all virtues, but the parent of the others. So I believe that he meant that gratitude comes first, and from this place of thankfulness, all of the other virtues can trickle down. So to me, I think that gratitude, perhaps for the purpose of our conversation today, gratitude can be a practice and a skill and a tool to enhance our lives, but specifically to enhance creativity for all of the talented artists and the creative people that are listening to your show.
Oh, that's a great way to get this started. I love that quote. With gratitude at this time of year, I am really interested in how we can take a look at gratitude and use it, like you said, as a tool. I think it is amazing to have these sorts of ethereal tools that we can use as our art supplies in cultivating our creativity. So can you expound on that a little bit more? Like, what do we do? How do we do it? And then how do we continue to use it?
Absolutely. I love thinking of gratitude as a tool in the toolbox or a tool in your studio, right there with your paintbrushes and your pens and your pencils and your X-Acto knives and all the cool, fun things that I know all your listeners have in
Oh,
their
yeah.
studios. Well, gratitude, the way I define it, is actually a two-step process. So, firstly, we need to recognize that we've obtained a positive outcome, right? Oh my gosh, this amazing blessing dropped out of the sky, or this amazing human being walked in and gave me an incredible opportunity, or my daughter gave me a call and offered me some special time together. Whatever it is, just recognizing that we've been given something that we feel has a positive outcome.
Mhm.
And then the second part, the second step in the process of gratitude is recognizing that there is something outside of us that is responsible as the source of the blessing of the positive outcome. In other words, it's not all about us.
Yes. So here's a question for you. With gratitude, I know that there are lots of listeners that can see gratitude as gifts that are given, but maybe don't notice those gifts as much as they notice the things that didn't go well. Does that make sense?
100%.
What did I do in order to deserve all the bad things that are happening to me right now? Yesterday, my day started off with one of my external drives not showing up, which was a huge panic. And I had a meeting I was getting ready for. My brain was like, what did I do to deserve an external drive crash this morning? And that probably wasn't the best way for me to look at my day. But if we could flip that coin and we spend more time looking at the good things that happened, because my drive did come back. And as soon as it started working, I was like, oh, whew, good. And off I went. And did I spend a moment to say, what did I do to deserve my external drive working again? I didn't. I just was like, okay, let's move on. But I did spend time going, why me? Why me for the problem that it was? So does that make sense?
Absolutely. And here's the thing, we've known each other for a while. I consider myself a very positive, optimistic person, and I'm also a realist. And what I mean by that is that I'm not into toxic positivity or false positivity. I'm not going to blow pink smoke up anybody's skirt, right? Let's be real. There are some ugly, awful things happening in the world. Hard drives crashing is one of them. It can be devastating. And there are beautiful blessings everywhere. So, this is where the idea of gratitude as a practice comes in. We are wired for negativity. Our brains are wired for negativity. It is a brain-based protection mechanism from when we were cavemen and like we had to be suspicious of everything because it might eat us, it might kill us and eat us, right?
Yeah.
So we tend to think that way still. However, I believe it's a coping mechanism that we don't need as much, but it lingers, it sticks with us. So what we want to do and what I want to encourage your listeners to do, and I'm going to show you how, is practice seeing the glass half
Yeah.
full.
Full. Oh my gosh. That has been my mantra for the fall is glass half full. Yes.
Both are true, right? There's only one glass, there's only two halves.
Mm-hmm.
It can be, we can look at the empty half or we can look at the full half, but both can be true. However, if we imagine that we have a volume dial on each, on the bad things happening to us and a volume dial on the good things happening to us, let's practice so that we are able to be aware of the bad things happening, turn the volume down on those so that we can then turn the volume up on the positive things that are happening. And I believe you even have a tool in your Create Today daily planner, don't you? That's just for this.
Yes. Yes, I do. There is a section in the Create Today Daily Planner that is all about celebrating what happened that was good for you today. So at the end of the day, you can take a look at what went well and give yourself some attagirls, attaboys. And it could be something small or it could be something giant, but
I love it.
having those moments that you can lock onto and take a moment to appreciate, those are the things that are going to help you realize that your glass is half full and not half empty.
Absolutely, but it might take some practicing. And
Yeah.
that's why I love it that you have that in your Create Today planner because it gives us a structure and a framework with which to practice. Again, we maybe don't wake up out of bed and say, "Oh, I am so grateful for this," but let's work towards that, right? Wouldn't that be a better way to start the day?
Yes,
Yeah. So,
absolutely.
two-step process, recognize, which might take some practice to
Mhm.
recognize that we've been gifted something wonderful, no matter how big or small, and then acknowledge and recognize that there's an external source from that, that it's not just all about us. And that external source can be whatever you're comfortable with. It can be the universe, it could be God, it could be the angels, right? Like it
Yeah,
just to get outside of ourselves is very humbling. And that brings in a sense of humility, which I believe is also necessary for this. It doesn't mean that we don't toot our own horn, but we have gratitude for that which is greater and that which is outside of us.
love it. Love it. Yes, that's a very great way to frame our idea about what is gratitude and then how to start thinking about it as a tool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Since you liked my first quote, I'll throw another one at you.
yeah.
This one is actually a Vietnamese proverb, and it goes like this: when eating fruit, remember the one who planted the tree.
Mm, I love that. Yes.
When eating fruit, remember the one who planted the tree.
So
Yeah.
tell us a little backstory about the meaning for you on this proverb.
Well, it could be because I'm from Iowa and I'm a farm girl, and
Yeah.
I came from grandparents who had farms and parents who we grew our own vegetables. And this is something that I'm not a real dogmatic person, but I'm a very spiritual person. And I believe very much in expressing thanks and appreciation when I'm about to take advantage of something, if you will. And so for me, this quote about eating the fruit and remembering those who planted the tree makes me think of the peach trees that were in my grandmother's orchard and the tomatoes that my grandmother grew from seed
Yeah.
and the cucumbers that she had hanging on the vines. But I like to thank the farmer who grew the food. And so it helps us to connect with our food source, which I believe is extremely important when we think about the health of our bodies.
So, where should we go next with our thoughts about our gratitude, Lisa?
Well, it might be nice to talk a little bit about the benefits of a gratitude practice because we've acknowledged that gratitude is a two-part process. It is recognizing the gifts, the blessings, and that it is also recognizing that it's not all about us. But let's be fair, we do like to know what is going to benefit us. So
Yeah.
I'm going to give you some ways in which gratitude as a practice and a way of living can actually benefit you and all of your listeners. Would that be okay?
Please bring it on. Yes. What's
So,
in it for me?
what is in it for you? Well, there are three main categories of benefits to a gratitude practice and a grateful way of living. The first is physical, the second is physiological, and the third is social. So, science has studied this extensively, which I love. I love me some woo woo, but I also like to see the proof, right? Like, show me the math, you know?
Yes, I agree.
And I won't go too much into the studies and the details. There's tons of information out there, and I'd be happy to point anyone in that direction. But science tells us that people who are grateful are more fit. They have
Interesting.
healthier bodies. Yep, they have better overall physical health. They have a stronger immune system, which is
Mm,
really important, right? They have fewer aches and pains, or maybe they just complain about them less. They have better cardiac health and better sleep. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. I mean, if it is as easy as I need to understand my glass is half full, it will bring these kinds of benefits to me. Because it's not saying my cup overflow, right, Lisa?
No,
It's
no,
just
no,
my glass is more full than it is empty. I will find goodness in my world more than I'm going to complain about things that are negative. Yeah.
no. Exactly. And even if the glass is not more full, even if it's half and half, again, remember, it is not all good. There are
Mhm.
plenty of things that are not good in our
Yeah.
world today. However, like you said, it is what we are choosing to focus on. And we know what we focus on grows. And you
Yeah.
said it beautifully. Absolutely. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. My mom had a bad accident this fall. It's been a really long road for her, but she is a glass half full person. From the moment I saw her in the ER room, she was telling me how things were okay
Mm.
and things were not. She could have been on that other side. Not only is my glass not half full, it is empty. That's where she could have been. But she was like, these are the good things. These are the good doctors. These were the things that happened to me today. And that's what she landed on. And I think it has helped her heal so much faster.
There is also science that shows that we will age like we believe we're going to age. So if we believe that getting older sucks and it's just all downhill from here, we are more likely to actually experience that. However, if we're like your mother, and gosh, I hope I am, and we believe that no, there's still plenty of beautiful
Mhm.
time left and ways for me to enjoy my life, things for me to create, then we are more likely to experience that.
Yes.
Cool.
That is really cool. So, yay, that is a benefit that I'm going to celebrate. Yes.
I believe it's worth celebrating. Yeah. So those are some of the physical benefits of a gratitude practice. And just to be clear, we'll get really specific on how to actually practice this before we end today. Yeah.
Yes.
The second category of benefits to a gratitude practice are psychological benefits. So, kind of like what's going on between your ears, psychological benefits. People who have an active gratitude practice and a grateful way of living, they experience increased happiness over those who do not. They naturally think more positive thoughts because of the practicing, right? They
Mhm.
have less anxiety and less depression. They are more resilient, they are more aware, and they have less stress, and they experience greater satisfaction. And I heard something the other day that really speaks to this for me. It is, are you happy with your life or are you happy in
In
your life?
prepositions, they make a huge
Mm.
difference. Oh my gosh. So happy with your life or happy in your life? Give us a little bit of description on like what that could correlate to.
If I may, I'll use an example of my own because I know it better than anything else. And it
Yes.
is I am 58. I am divorced. I lost a lot of financial abundance when I got divorced. I didn't know how I was going to support myself. I lost my home, blah, 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 blah. Right? Do you see how we can really go down that
Yeah.
path? So it might be easy for me to go, you know what? I'm not really happy with the way my life turned out. This is not where I thought I was going to be at age 58, right? It's not how I thought it would look. I'm still working, which by the way, I love working. I'm so grateful for it. But you get
Yes.
like I'm not on a beach in Aruba, right? However, that's happy with. Am I happy in my life in this very moment? Am I happy to be sitting here talking to you and your listeners about gratitude? Am I happy that I get to go and do these things with the rest of my day? 100%. So it just is a difference between judging some situation or being right in the present moment. Does
Mm.
that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Being in the present moment is something definitely we're talking about again, but I'm here to tell you gratitude is a way to practice being happy in your life. And the celebration section that you have in your Create Today daily planner, these are the little tools that will help us shift. So if someone listening is thinking, I hate my life, I'm miserable, I'm not happy in my life, keep listening and start practicing gratitude, no matter how small, because it changes your brain. The practice of gratitude actually changes your brain.
And we can be happy with tiny things. And it's finding the little moments that make you feel that inner contentment. And sometimes that's as small as having your favorite dinner on Tuesday night,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I love it that you point out again, let's turn the volume up on what we want to focus on, and let's turn the volume down on what's present,
Yeah.
but we just don't need to give it our attention, you know? And it's kind of cool. It's like if you're driving, or maybe when you first learned how to drive, if anybody can remember back that far, your driver's ed teacher, your parents, whoever taught you to drive, you only used your right foot.
Yeah.
You never used both feet, because if you use both feet, you've got one foot on the gas and one foot on the brake, and that's like, "Wah," right?
Oh,
Well,
right.
it's
Yeah.
the same way with our brains. We can't have it both ways. If we are focusing on our celebrations, on our wins, on our blessings, we only have so much brain capacity. We can't also be negative and pessimistic, right? So
Yeah.
when we have more positive, good, hopeful feelings, there is less room in our brains for toxic ones. So if we're grateful, if we're satisfied, if we're content, if we're happy, we have less room for materialism, narcissism, cynicism, right?
Yes. Right. Love it. I love it. Okay. So that's the second P in our list of things. So we had physical and then we had ecological. And now what does the social bullet mean?
Okay, so the social benefits of gratitude mean things like our family units, our communities, our world. And do we need some social benefits now more than ever, right?
Oh,
Our world seems so divisive. So when we practice gratitude, the social benefits to us and to those around us are we tend to be more generous,
mm,
more kind, and more helpful.
yep. Yeah.
As a result, we tend to have better relationships. We have an improved work climate. We're more appreciative of our colleagues, of our coworkers. We're easier to get along with. We experience more satisfaction with things we might grumble about or complain about. We feel more secure. Because if we are focusing on all the things that we don't have, as you mentioned, and all the things that aren't going well, that makes us feel really shaky. At least it does me. If I think, oh my gosh, I haven't gotten this and this done today, and my hard drive crashed, and this, it's like, holy cow.
Right. Yes.
If we are focusing on all of the beautiful things in our lives, then it's like, wow, okay, this happened today because I wrote it in my celebrations list in my Create Today planner or in my gratitude journal, right? Then I feel so much more secure to create something new, to put myself out there, to try a new medium, or to express my art in a way that I might not have otherwise. And maybe last but not least of the social benefits of gratitude are we feel more connected.
Hmm.
And we learned during the COVID years that connection is almost as important to our health and our creativity as how much sleep we get and what we eat.
Right. I think this third focus, social, is going to be super helpful, especially when we all gather around that big table at Thanksgiving with everyone in our family. I mean, we can pick our friends, but we can't pick our family. And with what has happened in our country right now, we are so polarized. And if we can focus on glass half full, right? Does that make sense?
Totally. Imagine, just imagine that you're sitting around the Thanksgiving table and there's always going to be someone, right? There's Aunt Nellie. Aunt Nellie is always going to be negative, negative Nellie, right?
Negative,
So
yes.
she's going to focus on the things that didn't go well. She's going to talk about politics and on whatever, whomever.
Yeah.
Imagine if everyone around your table was focusing instead on gratitude and on their blessings and on the reasons that you all are together. Now, imagine how peaceful that dinner would be. Now, we can't control what Nellie or Uncle Tom have to say, but we can do it for ourselves. And we know, be the change, Gandhi said it. We know that we can only model behavior for others and show them. And if we are acting with authenticity and sincerity, remember, if we are grateful, then we are going to feel better. We are going to experience the physical benefits. So we're going to just be a more positive, happy person to be around. We're going to experience those psychological benefits. So, of course, by living this for ourselves, we're going to model it for others. And it's going to be so darn infectious. I'm telling you, you'll all be singing Kumbaya by the time you finish the pumpkin pie.
Even if we have our negative folks that just bring the baggage and that's all they want to unpack, if you go in with a feeling of gratitude and positivity about yourself, you can let them be. Just that is who they are, but it doesn't have to be who you are.
I invite everyone listening to try it.
Yes.
And we'll talk a bit about some practices, but we're talking about being around the Thanksgiving table. So let's create that experience, just like you create your day. Let's create that experience. How do you want that to be? And come prepared. So you might put a whole lot of effort into your stuffing, whether it's got oysters or not. But what if we put just as much effort into the table topics? And that's a fun thing to have in your back pocket. Table topics or conversation starters, and some conversations about gratitude might be really fun to pass around the table.
If you have a cheat sheet, that'll be great.
Why not? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Okay, Lisa, what next? Tell us more, please.
Well, I know that a lot of your audience, Beth, they're artists, they're creatives, and of course, everyone's creative. And I love that. You've convinced me of that. I didn't believe it in the beginning, but I totally wear that like a badge of honor now. They might be interested in exactly how gratitude affects your brain.
Yeah.
Because our creativity is definitely a brain-based, a heart-based, really. It comes from the way our brains are wired. And this, I think it's important for me, for people to understand that, again, I love woo-woo, but this is all very science-based, and this has been studied extensively. And some of the specifics that gratitude can do for your brain, it activates the ventral and dorsal medial prefrontal cortex. Whoa.
Oh, yeah.
I know, right? But what's really cool about that is the part of the brain that is involved in feelings of reward when stress is removed. So let's simplify that. When we practice gratitude, we feel less stress. Therefore, in our brain, we experience more reward without eating sugar or having a glass of wine, right? It's like less stress because there's not room for both. So the brain perceives, reward, pleasure. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
Also, when your thinking shifts from negative to positive, you get a surge of those feel good chemicals, the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, all of those chemicals that our brain releases to make us feel good. I think that's really, really, really cool.
When I feel that rush, when someone says something kind, like, oh, Hallmark moment, and I physically feel the feelings. Does that make sense?
Yes, because we just discussed there is actually a physiological reaction happening in your body. So, what I love is that you're saying you actually stop and smell the roses. When that happens,
Yeah.
you take a moment, and whether you're intentionally doing it or not, you're being grateful for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's being aware that you are aware. Because I think that is a way to flip on that gratitude switch and say, oh, look what's happening to me right now. I am feeling this feeling and I'm going to enjoy it while it's happening.
Absolutely. And as artists, when we get this brain activity going, and we get the serotonin and the dopamine and the oxytocin, and we feel more feelings of closeness, of connection, of happiness and joy. And when I feel that way, again, I feel like I can take on the world. I'm
Yeah.
so much more confident. I am more willing to be expressive, to try new things. So you can think of a gratitude practice as preparing your garden. You're digging in the dirt, you're tilling the soil, and you're fertilizing it with all of this organic, amazing matter that provides this beautiful breeding ground for your creativity. We can't grow beautiful food from dead earth. We can't, because there's no nutrients in there. We can't create from a stressed, closed off space. We just can't. But with a gratitude practice and with all of these benefits and these better feelings, we are much more able to see and feel a sense of possibility, a possibility for ourselves, for our art, for our work, for all of humanity, really.
I love that thought. That's such a great way to look at it. When you're getting your garden ready, I know something that Tom and I do is we have a compost. So we're taking a lot of the negative things that we didn't need when we were making dinner, and we turn that into something good that will eventually help us grow better things when it's time to start the garden up again. So it's that way of turning away from things that are negative so that you can concentrate on the positive.
Yep. We're just cultivating a sense of fertile ground for possibility. Because when we are feeling hopeful, we see a lot of possibility. When we are not feeling hopeful, we see nothing but the hard drive crash.
So I love that. I love that metaphor of the garden and how you're taking care of your soil. So that gratitude is just helping keep your ground fertile for whatever it is you want to grow.
Exactly, exactly. And it builds on itself. The brain changes with experience. It's called neuroplasticity. And this is something that your creative minds, I'm sure, know about. Our brain can rewire itself. And the more we practice, the more those neural pathways get
Yes.
set in our brains. And so, again, like anything, your day may not be only full of positivity, there may be other things too, but we just focus on the volume, on what we want to see. And that creates those new neural pathways, it strengthens them. So before long, we don't have to remind ourselves. We'll catch ourselves and go, oh, I was being negative.
Yeah.
Oh, I was being pessimistic. Oh, okay. And that's fine. Then we come back. But before long, because of the practice and because of the way it changes our brains, that starts to become our way of being. It starts to become our identity.
If when we get to that decision of half full, half empty, if we can take a look at it as a place to make that decision, shifting from I'm going to be on this track to that track, like when you're on a train and they just make a switch in the track, it'll either take you left or right. So if you're thinking, I think I tend to worry about things more than I tend to celebrate things. Have no fear. There's a way to change the way you think.
So, where are you headed? Right.
Yeah.
And you're right. I love it that you pointed out there's this choice, there's this decision point. And when you are aware, as you brought up, it may only be a millisecond, but we become more and more aware that we actually have some agency in what we are creating. So,
Yes.
rather than thinking that life is happening at us and to us, we can be aware of all these little pivot points throughout our day. When we start, we have to become aware. We might have to sit on them for a moment and go, oh, right.
Yeah.
And we won't always get it right. But over time, it will become more and more natural to create the path to get you where you want to go. And that is brain based, it's science, it is completely neural plasticity. It's beautiful. I love it. So when you're willing to consider that it may be better, it just creates the sense of possibility. And
Yes.
I would much rather have a sense of possibility than, oh, I've ruined this painting. It's terrible. I'm awful. I'm a horrible artist. I'll never sell my work. When we start down that path, we tend to start making all kinds of meaning and we replay all kinds of old stories that generally aren't helpful. A gratitude practice can help us open up to this amazing sense of possibility.
Yes, because sometimes the best things happen because something didn't happen the way you wanted it to, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what do we do next, Lisa?
So I think it's really important to recognize that our brains are not naturally wired this way. Maybe some of your listeners are automatically Susie Sunshine. My last name is Murphy. Have you ever heard of Murphy's Law? This is certainly not the way, right? So I think it's important to realize that it is a process and a practice. So the acknowledgement and the noticing of gratitude as something that's happened positive for me, that's the first step, noticing it.
Mm-hmm.
Second step of the gratitude process is acknowledging that it is due to an external circumstance by some gift of God or a blessing, however, the universe opening up for you, however you find meaning in that. And then the third is to actually put your money where your mouth is and practice. Put your, as Stephen Pressfield would say, put your butt in your seat and do your art. Do it, right? Like you got to actually do it, right?
Yes, do the work.
So it's the same for gratitude. Now, your listeners are all creative, so I bet they can come up with a bazillion gajillion creative ways to express gratitude with their art. I would like, if it's okay with you, could we just do a little practice right here? Just a real
Oh,
short where we don't need anything?
yes, I love it. Let's do it.
Cool, cool. If you're comfortable,
Mhm.
I want to invite you to put your hands over your heart. This is our energy center of love, the heart chakra, if you're familiar with that
Yeah.
system. Close your eyes. Take some long, deep breaths, breathing into your hands and out. Simply notice that you are breathing. You don't have to tell your body to do it. You don't have to give your lungs an online course. They automatically know how to breathe. They know how to send fresh oxygen all throughout your body. Your heart knows how to pump. So, right now, simply be grateful that you are in this incredible body, that your lungs know how to breathe, that your heart knows how to beat. And you know it's happening because you can feel it, it's tangible. Simple gratitude for aliveness. Then you can go ahead and open your eyes and release your hands.
That was so easy, Lisa. And yes, it's an easy way to just calm yourself down and go inward to the simple things that you have to be grateful for, which is I am breathing. My heart is beating. Even if you're not feeling great today, or there's something about your body that is not in great health, there's still things happening automatically with your body that will get you moving through your day and help you concentrate on the positivity that you can find.
Exactly. And sometimes there is a lot of ugliness in our world today. There are wars, there's devastation. Sometimes it can be really hard to find things to be grateful for. And I want to acknowledge that
Yeah.
your listeners may be going through a lot. So if we can bring it to something tangible, something that we can actually feel, it makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And if we just ratchet it down to the most basic thing, am I breathing? Am I here? Am I alive? Unless you're dead, you can find that,
Yeah.
right?
I don't know how many of the listeners know what you've just gone through this fall, Lisa, with the hurricane. If you could just touch briefly on how you hung on to your gratitude practice to get you through what you've dealt with this fall.
Yeah, thank you, Beth. Yes, I live in Asheville, North Carolina, and your listeners may be aware that we suffered devastation at the hands of Hurricane Helene. It was horrific, and I was very fortunate. I was very blessed. I'm very lucky. I'm very grateful that our home was not harmed. We had only minor damage. So, in the beginning, we didn't know what was going on. It was really frightening. But I kept coming back to this basic, like very base, like I am alive. I am here. My house is still standing. Like almost just listing off the facts instead of letting my mind spiral out to I don't have electricity, I don't have internet, I don't have cell service, I don't have 5G, I don't have water. I mean, literally nothing, right? No connection with the outside world at all for days. But I kept coming back to what I did know to be true. I'm breathing, my lungs are breathing, my heart is pumping, my house is standing. I am here. And so sometimes just bringing it down, bringing it to the very base, we are here, we are alive. That is a beautiful foundation from which to build and grow your gratitude practice.
I love what you just said there. You said, what do I have? You still don't have perfect water. And it's been months now.
Yeah.
And I know you and I were emailing and texting, and you were only able to check your email when you were able to drive somewhere where you were able to access your email and your text.
Mhm.
But you, instead of what don't I have, you were thinking, what do I have?
Absolutely. And if there's someone listening, it's just, man, I just can't get there. I can't go there. My life is sucks. It's horrible right now. I, I hear you, and it's okay. I've been there too.
Yeah.
And that is why what one thing, one tiny little thing, and maybe it's literally just putting our hands on our body and going, yep, I'm still breathing. That's a beautiful place to start.
So, what can we do in order to cultivate a little bit more? So our gratitude can be a tool that we use all the time.
There are amazing practices that you can do that your listeners can do. The simplest is a gratitude journal or a gratitude list. And you can do it in your Create.today planner if you have one, because Beth has a place for celebrations. You could use that. But I like to think about this twice a day, if possible, in the morning and at night. List 1 to 3 things for which you're grateful upon rising. That is it. It doesn't even have to be written down, it can be just in your head. The same thing can be really beautiful at night, maybe at the dinner table with your family. Oh, what happened good for you today?
Yeah.
Or if you do have a list or a journal, you can make a list of 1 to 3 to 5. There's no end, keep going, of the things that happen to you. People, things, it doesn't matter, big or small. Really, really simple practice that anyone can do. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I know from just the research I've done on gratitude that while it seems like, oh, making a list of things that I feel grateful for, that seems kind of trite, that it's not, because it is building that neuroplasticity that's saying these are things that were good today that I feel good about, or I will feel good about, and you will feel better and better about them the more you focus on what was good instead of what didn't work today or what you thought you should have had.
Absolutely. It is a practice. If you wanted to run a marathon, no one in their sane mind would sit on the couch for 6 months and then go run a marathon. Practice. If you want to see the world with a sense of openness and possibility and beauty, if you want to fertilize the soil of your creativity so that you can express yourself, it's going to take some practice. And a simple list is one of the easiest ways to do that, to cultivate this attitude of gratitude, as they say.
Yeah, I love lists. Those are my favorite things. Now, I also know that you are a big believer in letters. Can you explain what that is?
This is really cool. It's a really neat way to increase your practice of gratitude. It's with letters of appreciation.
Mm, okay.
So sit down, and I recommend old school, a pen, a paper, some art supplies, and create a letter of appreciation for someone. So I'm thinking in my own mind of some of the notes that I wrote to people who helped us during the hurricane. We didn't have enough water. We didn't have any place to do our laundry. Neighbors were sharing their well water, their washing machine in another town. Next door neighbor brought us food. So I sat down afterwards and I wrote letters of appreciation. The good old fashioned thank you note. I'm afraid it's gone by the wayside. I want to take this one step further too. You don't even have to give or send these letters. What if you just sat down and wrote a letter of gratitude and appreciation to someone that you've lost touch with or someone you don't even know? Just think of it as a love letter to yourself, really, by expressing your appreciation. And anytime we use our brain in this way, it just creates this amazing fertile ground for expression and creativity.
Oof. And then on the flip side of the coin, if it is someone that you could send a letter to, oh my goodness, would that make their day? First of all, very few people send real live cards or letters in the mail anymore. So when you get one of those little missiles, they are just like confetti falling from the sky. If you did just pop a stamp on it and send it out, you would make someone's day a
Just
lot.
imagine receiving one of those.
Right. So I think that's such a great idea to make gratitude a tool. Yeah, I love that.
Make
So
it a tool and make it an expression of your creativity and of your art. Create a piece of gratitude. You can take it as make it as elaborate and as broad as you like or as simple as you
yeah,
like.
yeah. For all of my artists, professional artists out there who their art is for whatever someone says, I need you to draw for someone else. This would be something that you can do for yourself. Very much like when we were doodling during their doodle meditation workshop. This is art that you do just for your own self fulfillment and well being. I know that you have an Oprah quote that I think you should share, right?
I gotta love me some Oprah. You know it. Oprah said, be thankful for what you have, and you'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough.
Yes, that is so well said.
Thank you, Oprah. I'm
Yeah,
grateful for Oprah.
that is an amazing quote that I think is a great way to say gratitude. It's a tool. And if you use it right, it is going to just shine up your days and it will be easier to walk the journey that you have ahead of you, no matter how hard that day looks. It's not going to make your life unicorns and cotton candy every day, but it will brighten up those dark areas because even in the dark times, you will see light.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Lisa, thank you so much. I am feeling great gratitude for you today. I think this is such a timely topic, not only for the fact that we are just right around the corner from Thanksgiving, but just in what is happening in our world right now, we need to find ways to see the sunshine, to feel the gratitude for the goodness that we have, because we live in a land of plenty. But we need to know how to share the plenty so that everyone can feel the gratitude for what we have and how we use it and what we do with it to give to others. When you are being thankful in the days ahead or around the table, how are you going to use gratitude as a tool to not only make goodness in your day, but share that with others so that their day will be a little brighter as well. We want to make sure that we know how to find you, Lisa. So remind everyone again, if they have a conversation that they feel they need to have with you, how do they find you and how do they go about that?
Thank you, Beth. They can find me, your listeners can find me on my website at lisamurphyllc.com. I'm on the socials. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube at Lisa Murphy LLC. And I would be ever so grateful to have a conversation with any of your listeners about cultivating an attitude of positivity, an attitude of possibility, and or all things healthy aging. So as a thank you to you and all your listeners, I would be delighted to offer a complimentary coaching call to anyone, and you can book that in at my website. Thank you.
If you want to talk to Lisa by yourself, please just take advantage of that. Get to her website. There will be a live link in the show notes that will be able to take you there as well. And take advantage of this time that you can have to have your own conversation with Lisa. Lisa, thank you so much for your time today. And everyone who is listening today, remember that Create Today is all about what you can do with your creativity and how you can make yourself happier and healthier in heart, mind, body, and soul through the way you cultivate your creativity. Having a sense of gratitude in your day is going to just make your creativity that much fuller and more robust. In the meantime, my friends, find some goodness in your day. Find some things that will make your glass half full. But no matter what you're drinking today, always remember to stay creative. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. And now for a word from our sponsor. And that's me. The holidays, my friend, they're just around the corner. So do something you love for yourself. Gift yourself a little something. Learn to draw on your iPad with Procreate, but do it festively. Sign up for the super fun December workshop where we're going to learn to draw delicious Christmas cookies and then prepare them to be printed as gift tags to use for all the presents you'll be wrapping this holiday season. Or consider giving these unique gift tags as a hostess gift or a stocking stuffer. There are so many great reasons you'll love this workshop. So hop on over to www.bdi-create.today and under menu up at the top right, choose events. It's going to take you straight to the registration page. And you can also find a live link to register for the workshop here in the show notes. So come and join me for a delicious event. It's calorie-free and it's a wonderful way to have some fun while you learn how easy it is to create with Procreate. Just go to www.bdi-create.today and register today for some festive fun with me here inside the Create Today community. I cannot wait to mix up some delicious cookies with you as we create today together.